Survivor specialist Phil and Alexa are back. Alexa is not with us tonight, but I am joined by, should I say someone better? Alexa's never going to listen. Someone better, Bret
There you
LaBelle.
go. There you go. I like it. I'm with you.
From Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X and The Amazing Race 32, where he carried Chris Hammonds around the world as best he could.
31, but everything else is correct. I carried him as best I could. He's a pain in the ass, and he always will be.
I'll tell you what. I need to go fix our YouTube channel because the playlist for The Amazing Race is listed as 32. So I got to change that because that's what I went and looked at before I did this podcast. So, oops. We're here, though, to talk about Survivor because that's the show that needs 90 minutes.
It's been great, man.
It's been great. And we're predicting episode 11. So Bret's here to do the predictions and power rankings for this episode. Final 7. We just saw Bruce go home with an idol in his pocket. Bret, break it down.
Well, so this is going to be hard for me to do because I've met Bruce a couple times. I met him at that party I saw you recently at, where I was hop along Kizadish with my crutches. And actually, before that, I got a funny story, and I don't know if you're going to interview Bruce. I don't know if you've reached out to him. Really, really likable guy. And I know, people are polarized. Look, I got friends that I watch Survivor with, and Bruce is probably not their favorite guy, but I will say, if you meet this guy, he's a great guy. And I was doing there was a watch party. I cannot remember who put it together, but it was down in Rhode Island. I did a bunch of them down there years back. They all kind of meld together. But I remember Richard Hatch was there. A couple other of current survivors were there. Obviously, let me think. I'm trying to think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So Bruce comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, how you doing? I'm a huge Survivor fan, blah, blah, blah." And I said, so we got to chit-chatting. And I was like, "Well, have you ever tried out since you're such a fan?" He's like, "Oh, no, I'd never tried out." I goes, "Well, what's stopping you?" So we had a long conversation about, Bruce and why he hasn't tried out. Now, that's years ago, right? So fast forward, he's on his season 44, hits his head. I don't remember him. But he just looks like the poor guy that hit his head and got voted out the first day to me. I did feel awful for him because I know, how nervous you are, being the first voted out, never mind being the first injured and taken away on in a 24-hour period. So fast forward to the party that we're at, he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, "Oh my God, you're the guy that hit his head. So sorry to hear that." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm going to be on the next season though." I was like, "Oh, no kidding. That's awesome. Good for you." He goes, You don't remember our conversation in Rhode Island, do you?" I was like, "No, I'm sorry. I don't. I don't." He's like, "Yeah, I'm Bruce. You told me to audition," is essentially what he said. And I was like, "Oh my God, I do remember the conversation. I remember talking to you. I don't remember that you were that same guy." So I happen to have Bruce in my heart, and I feel awful with what happened. That being said, what a horrible way. How many people are we going to have to witness in our lifetime that go home when their name's on the block? They're on the chopping block. He's on the block for you CBS. What's the one with the chopping block? I don't Big Brother. You Big Brother fans. He was on the block. And he still I can't believe he went home. Another person to go home in the history books with an idol in his pocket when he should have known that his name was coming up that night.
And I'm pretty sure somebody did the math on it, and we're now over 20 people who have gone home with an idol in their pocket. And some of them are understandable, right? Like, when Chelsea Walker went home back in season 39, it blindsided her. She did not see it coming. When Aubrey went home in 38, they just got her. They were coming for her. They fooled her. They duped her. It worked. But in this one, Bruce knew his name was out there. Yeah. And he had been told now by either the third, fourth, or fifth person that the people he thought were telling him the truth were actually lying straight to his face. And that was when Emily went up to him and said, "Julie's not working with you. She just wants your vote at Final Tribal." This is after whatever he heard with Kelly. This is after he's finding out about the Jake's, Jake's not necessarily with him. And I think also he had heard, with Katura, she's telling somebody, "Stop throwing me under the bus." And then that word gets back to Bruce. So the people Bruce thought he was close with, air quotes, aren't close with him. So when they're telling him this information, I was really shocked that he still ate it up and didn't play the idol. Because if you play the idol here, He has won 2 individual immunities, and right now it seems like they're avoiding puzzles and trying to go all in on endurance challenges. He was in the Navy, right? Like, he's going to do pretty damn good at this stuff.
Yeah. Look at I like so what people have to understand is Bruce. There's more. You're getting what we're seeing from what CBS is showing us, but and some people did seem annoyed with him. But you get annoyed with everyone out there. He does have a. There must have been people that did like him. For him to stay in the game as long. Katora couldn't stand him. The
Mhm.
fact that he couldn't pick up, he should. Maybe she's really sneaky and really good. I don't know, but she is not. She has been on the outs with him, or in her mind, she's on the outs with him since the beginning of the game.
Mhm.
So I find it very interesting. And yes, they come back for the girls, boys thing. They go to the sanctuary, which we'll get
Mhm.
into later. I can't stand it. I'm done with it.
Mhm.
But they come back to the sanctuary, and then he starts getting word that Katora, is telling people that he does have the idol. He tried to play it. So, like, now his radar should be extremely high. Wait a minute, Katora's. I did that whole scene with Katora where I pretended that I was lying to her, like she told all them. Now everyone knows I have the idol. Like, if that doesn't give you the idea of, you know what, this might be the time to play it. And
Mhm.
why is everyone like he was good enough to find the first one? They're probably going to throw one back out there in the woods. Use it, and then get out there and try to find it.
Yeah.
There's only 7 people left in the game, or it's very frustrating to me that he didn't play it.
Yeah, and I think at this point that's where I'm at with idols, and I've talked about this on patron podcasts and regular podcasts, and it's just a thing I can't stop repeating, and that's if I got an idol in New School Survivor, I almost feel like I'd play it the first time I could every time at this point because everybody has gotten so meta with this game. They know the game inside and out. They know how to lie. They know when to be looking for certain things. And everybody's gotten so good at lying that it's hard to tell when somebody's telling you the truth. So you have an idol that automatically puts a target on your back. People are trying to figure out how can we flush this idol. Even if you feel like you're in a really good alliance, the odds are that they're going to try to flush that idol when you're not expecting it. So I would almost say, you know what? I got this idol. I'm going to play it. Especially in this situation. And like you're saying, they keep hiding them. Back on season 33, I don't remember how many idols there were on your season, but I know that they weren't as frequent as they are in the new era. The new era, it seems like every week you can find an extra vote. You can find a steal a vote. You can find like anything right down the line.
Yeah,
I would have played it.
100%. And I think, look at David Wright played it. What? I mean, we were voting on. It was the 4th vote, I think. I'm sorry, guys. I should know this, but and he played it for Jessica.
Mhm.
And I remember everyone was like, "What? Why would you? If you had it, why would you play it so early?" But we all saw David. We all assumed he was looking like crazy, which he was.
Mhm.
We all assumed that he had it because he looked so much for it, and he was being so sneaky. And because he's a little sneak, he was a little bald sneak. He looked like Gollum running around the island. And he's one of my closest friends, folks. I could say that. I love the kid to death.
Yeah.
But I will say, everyone, I remember there was a lot of talk. Why is he using it so early? He should have saved it for himself. But he ended up using it perfectly, right? He used it to save Jessica, who was a number for him, who then became indebted to him. It would never vote against him. It turned out to be a great move for David's game going forward. And I think he would say that now. Maybe, he might have said, well, I could have done this, I could have done that. But when I look back at the game, I go, that was a pretty good move by David Wright. When we all thought that's a little early to be playing an idol, but we all thought he had it anyway. So, you're right. He did have a target on his back because we thought he had the idol. He was better off burning it early on in the game and in solidifying votes with Jessica and Ken.
Yeah, and the thing is now, so he's at final 8, and he has an idol, and he's just won 2 immunity challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Up to this point, Bruce actually, I don't think he's only been eligible to go home 1 time up to this point, right? Because it was when they did the vote split and Dee and Kelly both won their immunities. So Bruce could have went home at that tribal council. That was the only time so far in the game that he could have. So he's at final 8. He's won 2 immunities, and he just finished second in this one to Austin, who is jacked out of his mind. There's no way in the new era of Survivor where at final 4 there's fire making that you're going to let this guy go 1 more vote and now be at final 7 with an idol and the chance that all he needs to do is win 1 more immunity. He wins 1 immunity. He survives 7. He then plays his idol at 6. Now he's in the final 5. And at Final Five, anything goes because that's the last regular vote you can have in the season. There's no way. Now, maybe they just lied to him well. I thought Emily made a really smart play of saying a truth to him that he didn't know and then immediately following it up with a lie straight to his face because his guard was let down. She earned his trust and then she lied right to him. That's a good move. But as bad as the move by Bruce was to not play the idol, I'm still having questions. It's been almost a week since the episode aired as to why they wanted Bruce out of the game at this point. I get wanting to vote for the idol and get the idol out. But you were watching the same show I am, and it seems like your friends are watching the same show I am. Was Bruce going to get any votes if he sat at Final Tribal Council?
No, and I'm glad you brought this up because you don't really know. Okay, I want everyone to understand it. Like, there's certain people I watch, like, you don't really know. Like, there's a lot of people that are very likable out there, and so they may be portrayed by Survivor in the edit that they're not likable, and they are. But I will say this: it appears to me, from what I could tell, if I'm Emily or I'm a number of people on that island, I want Bruce right next to me because it doesn't seem like he's going to get a lot of votes, and it doesn't seem like people. Now, listen, they may like him, and hey, let's go have beers and stuff. But are they going to give him $1 million? I don't believe that they are, or they were. Now, he may have some crazy story that we're never going to hear, and that he would have played, and that might have worked. I don't know, and we'll never know. But I think if I was on that island, I don't think I'd be in a rush to get. There's Dee. There's a ton of other people I would be in a rush to get rid of, and not Bruce. I find, especially when we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, and if Bruce is a vote in your favor, he's not going to hurt you at Final Tribal. So what is the rush to get rid of him? I've seen a lot of that on this season,
and I do feel like, especially what we just saw with the way that this 8 was shaped up, this was Bello's chance to take the numbers. Now, Katurah was never going to work with Bruce. That was clear. And Jake all of a sudden is ready to not work with Bruce. But there was still an opportunity here for Emily to say, guys, we have to do this one vote so we can get rid of somebody on Reba. They're not going to see it coming. I mean, Austin won. He didn't play his idol for anybody else. That's how comfortable they were. Can you make them a little bit uncomfortable so that one of them go home? Everybody knows they have at least one idol. I don't know how many people know that Austin has 2, but they all know he has at least one. You got to get rid of that one just as bad as you got to get rid of Bruce's. And Austin is way more threatening at Final Tribal. Like Trevor, the therapist, says, I don't know why I'm stumbling. They liked Carolyn and she got 0 votes. Everybody loved Carolyn.
Right?
Everybody. She didn't get a vote.
Yeah, it's the funny thing about Carolyn is that we all loved her at home. I mean, they really edited her great. And I hate to keep using the edit, but it does affect, because trust me, I go to these parties and you've seen me there 1,000 times when people come up to me and go, how come you didn't look for an idol? It's like, no, you look for an idol every day. If you don't find one, they don't follow you. You don't get the airtime on it. So, but the whole thing with what was my point here?
No, Carolyn. You were talking
about
Carolyn.
Carolyn. Yeah. So we all watch Carolyn. We think I thought she was hilarious. She's great TV. I guarantee we see her again on the show. She was hilarious. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people were really bummed out that that she didn't do well in it and everything. And but I think that first of all, Austin, right? That's his name, Austin. Yeah. We're not really getting a lot from him, right? We see him when he does stuff, but I mean, to me, he looks like he would be really good at challenges. I feel like he'd be really good at challenges. And is he holding back, you think? Like, I mean, he did well in the last week, but I feel like he's holding back. He looks like he's in the best shape out of anyone out there,
Yeah, I think what hurt him also was the challenges so far haven't been really conducive to people who are upper body strength oriented, like Austin looks like he is. Those first 2 challenges of the one was hanging on the pole. That's not going to work for him. That one always favors the women, no matter how big the foothold is. And then there was the second challenge, the one that Bruce won, where he had to keep his arms out to the side. Bruce won that one because his team got there. Austin didn't get to that point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I forget what the first. The other one was the holding your body weight, which is a really hard one. But I also think that Austin probably has a higher body weight than a lot of other people, which is going to make it more difficult when you've lost as much weight as he has.
Yeah, but he is going. I would be very worried about him. I would be very worried about Dee. There's a ton of people on here that scare me going forward.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's any chance now for Katurah, Emily, or Jake looking at the Reba 4 on the other side? Because that's been the conversation around the community this whole week, is is it just set up right now where one of the Reba Four will be crowned a millionaire at the end of this?
Well, yeah, I mean, probably. I'm looking at Emily really hard right now
Mhm.
because if you look at Emily's story through this whole thing, it's really good,
Mhm.
and I find her more and more fascinating every week. I didn't entirely love her in the beginning of this season. Of course, but now I'm starting to really like her. So, and I think if I'm her, who do I want to go to the end with now? I probably, and that's the thing with Jake. Why is Jake on the outs? Somebody
Yeah.
needs to buddy up with him
Mhm.
because does anyone see him winning if
No.
he's at final? Unless he's got a
Adam
story.
Klein was the only one. He came on the podcast last week and said Jake could still win if he gets the final tribal, but
Well, there you go. Jake's not winning. There you
yeah,
go, right
there you
there.
go.
No, and I love Adam Klein, but I'm just saying. No, I'm just teasing. And I can hear him right now saying it too in that loud voice of his. But no, but Adam could be right. Look, you could make an argument for anyone here, but like I don't feel it's a matter of opinion. I don't feel that Jake. I feel like Emily needs. I think she should cozy up next to Jake, and I think and Julie. Well, they made a case in the last episode that everyone loves Mama. I don't buy that so much. Like
Mhm.
I don't see them give. If Emily goes with Mama, Jay, and Jake, I think she wins it. Like I think now they need to, instead of doing this whole, they need to really be thinking about who am I taking to the end. And honestly, Emily and Bruce would, she would have crushed Bruce.
She would crush Bruce.
Yeah. So
I think she beats Katura too, and I think that's the point. We're at the point in the game now where the Reba Four. I think the only way a Reba Four doesn't win this season is if they sit next to Emily at the end. I think she's the only one who can beat them. But I also think that they're smart enough to realize that the only one who can beat them is Emily, so they're not going to let it happen. And I think, I mean, I don't want to get into the power rankings just yet. We got to keep the drama up as high as we can, but I think that Emily's in trouble because the Reba Four have so much ammunition. They got the two idols. They have probably the strongest physical competitor left in the game. Julie's finished second in 2 of the immunity challenges, so she's legit. Dee's won an immunity challenge. She's legit. Austin did win one. Drew's very good at puzzles.
yeah,
Somebody from that section there seems like they're going to win immunity and they have 2 idols. They're not looking at Jake and Katura right now, I don't think, as the people they need to get rid of. They're looking at them as the people they need to sit next to at the end of this game.
yeah. But I don't know and I think we'll see more of that next episode, because Drew, Drew again, he was gunning. He wanted, he didn't like Bruce either. So I think a lot of maybe the game's so fast now because it's only 26 days. I mean, geez, that's like a vacation for crying out loud. That's not even Survivor anymore. So maybe they're just not thinking it correctly. I don't know, or they think they got more time when they really don't. I don't know. It's very interesting to me. I don't think Katura is going to go much further. I don't know why. I just have that feeling. I feel like that. I think she might have a good story, and I think maybe people don't want to sit next to her. I don't know. I just don't, I think I don't have her high on the rankings. Let's just say that, and we're gonna get.
Yeah, we can get into those now and start talking about it because I'm sure that'll bring up whatever conversation we have left. But I just know that the frustration in the community so far, over the last couple of weeks, is that the Reba Four are just too dominant, which I find very interesting though, because last year the Tika 3 were very dominant, but everybody loved the Tika 3's personalities, so they just latched on and said we love the Tika 3. The Tika 3 dominated the post merge of that game. They didn't have the numbers, but they got them as easily as the Reba 4 did, because the Reba 4 didn't come into this merge with numbers either, considering J Maya and Sifu were never really with them, and J Maya ended up going home. There's 4 Reba people left at final 12. So
Right.
I guess Sifu was there, but they didn't want to work with Sifu is the point. So he wasn't really part of their alliance. So they were able to maneuver this and overcome an 8-4 deficit, essentially.
Right. And you're
annoyed
seeing that arrogance. And I think that's why because I see it too. And it kind of annoys you, right? You kind of always want to root for the underdog on Survivor. And there's been people, over the years, you root for somebody, and then you see they're in a team of they win every time, and you get frustrated. You go, I don't want to, then you start to root for the underdog. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. And yeah, I would rather not see them take this whole game. I think we're going to see, unless they're using trickery, I think we're going to see some breakup next next week or this week, I should say, because it's Monday already. But I don't know. And I think, Jeff's whole scene of trying to make it a big thing that Katora didn't jump in the water was ridiculous too, because like you're only hurting her, right?
Yeah.
Because who's going to want to take her to the end now that Jeff's making her into this, oh my God, you're so great because you didn't jump in the water. And as a player, I see that as a totally different thing. Like, she looked like she swam pretty good to me. She was, doing the whole strokes and stuff. But I know being out there why nobody wants to go in the water. That's because it takes you forever to get dry. Like, I don't know what time it was. It was probably late in the day. So you're probably going to go to bed wet. So a lot of people, if they don't have to get wet, they don't want to. So that may have ticked off a lot of people out there too. So I don't know.
Yeah, she had an emotional episode because she had that, and then she also had the moment with her mom writing her the letter. So now
that I liked. That was because they couldn't control that. That actually happened. She read the letter and she got emotional, and I actually liked that. I don't like this. Jeff keeps trying to force, like moments. Sari had her moment years ago, and it was wonderful. But it's Sari, you know what I mean? And Sari's been on 4 or 5 times, and it was great to watch that moment. But you can't recreate those moments every season, Sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, you're good. You're good. I just am saying, as I look at this, when you're talking about they're getting tired, people are getting tired of the arrogance. The problem is on the other side, who are the underdogs then that we're going to root for? Because really, Drew, D, and Mama J, Austin isn't really an underdog. I mean, he's the strongest guy out there, always looked like the strongest. But those other three in a normal Survivor season are going to be viewed as an underdog. Each one of them will be viewed as an underdog in their own way. But now when they're being viewed as the top dogs,
right?
Who are we supposed to be rooting for as the underdog on the other side? It's Emily, and that's really it. I don't feel like Katura and Jake have gotten it to the point where we're latching on to them as a community saying they're going to win. We can't wait to see them win. They're not going to, I don't
know. I think Jake's been at the bottom a lot. I think if he, him sitting at the beach crying and saying, I just can't get an edge. Like you don't want to hear that. Like get in there, figure it out. There's an edge. There's a crack. And whether it's explaining to that, hey, listen, the 4 Rebas, if it's pulling one of them aside and saying, hey, listen, you can't beat this one. You can't beat that. I mean, there's tons of ways you can get in there, get in that crack. And again, look you're out there. People have to understand you're out there 24/7, right? Everyone has a moment of, they could have showed Jake, I don't really know, I've met Jake. He's a great guy. I don't know that was part of his. I mean, that might have been, that's 10 minutes out of a long day. Who knows? He could have just been stressed out and he hit the beach. But to everyone watching, it does seem like, hey, get in there, get back in the woods, go talk to people, go up to the camp and figure this out, And I think if they did, their love for him would, they'd be rooting for him a little more. And same with, I mean, Emily, I think people are rooting for her.
Yeah, they are. She's the underdog everybody wants to see win this thing. And I think it goes back to what you were saying with the 26 days. I think with Jake, every night he's going to bed pissed off because every night it's not working out for him. And it's just every night there's a tribal council and it's not going the way he wants, especially at this point in the game where they're starting to speed it up a lot. I think last week was the first time we had a day in between tribal councils in like 4 episodes. That's how crazy it's been. So he's going to bed pissed off every night because it's not working. And that's just going to wear you down. I mean, that's like if you're working a job and your boss is giving you a hard time every single day before you leave work, you're going to go home pissed off. You're going to go to bed pissed off. You're going to wake up in the morning and not be looking forward to what is going to face you that day.
But that being said, right? He needs to grab that. He needs to be like, I don't know, say a company like Disney where you're like, we've had flop after flop after flop. What do? Oh no, keep putting out flops? Yeah. No, change it up. Go in there, start talking to people, figuring it out. Figure out what to do. Figure out what people like. There is a crack there. There definitely is. Those 4 people have been together forever. And I think that, now's the time, right? We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Now you put the pressure on them. Listen, you want to sit next to these 2? Go right ahead. You're going to lose. And that's how you kind of get people thinking and talking and whatever. Say, go with me. Nobody likes me. I can't even get an edge-wise. Why wouldn't you take me to the finals? Whatever. Stroke people's egos. Get them talking. Nobody likes to see the fans, me, somebody just kind of throwing their hands up and quitting. You just don't want to see it. No. It's not fun.
No. And Trevor the therapist says someone can still find Bruce's idol, which will go back into the game. It could be Jake. That's a good point. I think they will probably rehide Bruce's idol, considering it's final 7, and they love rehide. They want chaos. They just want a mess. They don't want it to be clean. So I think they will rehide it.
Who's the therapist?
It's the guy down here. Just says Trevor.
What's his name? Trevor the therapist. Trevor better give Jake. Jake's going to need a therapist after this season. I'll tell you that right now. Jake, give him a call when this is all said and done.
Well, on that note, before we get into the power rankings, who's got the better Boston accent? You or Jake? Who's got the thicker one?
Yeah, I don't know. Jake. Yeah, so I'd met him. I don't know. Some things are similar, some different. He's from down like Bridgewater area, so it's a little different. It's a little, but yeah, I don't know. Good guy though. I really like Jake. If you ever meet him, he's a really likable guy.
Yeah.
So he's probably being tortured by the Survivor fans around, but not a bad dude.
Yeah. All right, we're going into it. Number 1, who's the safest person this week? You got it at the top.
I mean, I'm really liking Emily, so I say Emily.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun. We're gonna we might be bookending this podcast. I won't necessarily say I have Emily at the bottom, but I might have Emily at the bottom.
Well, see, and you know me, I always forget how to do these power rankings, so I could be doing.
It's supposed to be who you think has no chance of going home this week. That's who you put at number 1.
Well, I would look at when we get down to 7. I personally think everyone has a chance of going home because it's just this is everyone's shot for $1 million, and they all know it. So, but this is who I think will be here next week. So that's what I'll do.
Okay. And we had Sammy from season 43 put Kelly at number 1 the week she went home. And he said that if she went home, he would put his life savings on the Cardinals to win the Super Bowl, because that would be like something crazy that he never would have thought would have happened. Are you feeling that confident that Emily's going to win? You think like the Patriots are going to make a comeback here, or are you feeling
the Patriots are making a comeback, and I'm not putting my money on them. So this is just horrible what's going on. Don't bring it up. We get the Army-Navy game this weekend at Gillette, so I'm rooting for the Navy. And hopefully they win, because then at least somebody I wanted to win will win at Gillette.
What's nice is the Army-Navy game will have more points than the Patriots games have had, which is saying a lot, because what are they at, 30 straight years of unders or something like that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Everything I have to bring it up because when you first started coming on this podcast back in like 2016, it was during your heyday, and it was like, Bret being cocky. So I had to.
And also we had Tom Brady, who was crushing it every year. So yeah, I could be cocky then. I'm not so cocky anymore.
Yeah, Mac Jones isn't the guy. Maybe Bailey's
no. Who are you rooting for now that you're down in Florida? Like,
I'm still a Lions fan. I've always been a Lions fan.
You got to. You can't change. Yeah,
I can't change. I'm still a Lions fan. They're good this year. They're still going to break my heart and blow it somehow. But
yeah, I always got a soft spot in my heart for the Lions. Always do.
Everybody does. And I watched Green Bay beat the Chiefs last night, and I was like, damn, are the Lions going to lose 3 of their last 5 games and not win the division title again? I have never seen them win a division title. I've not been alive when they won their last division title. So that's crazy. Yeah, crazy. I'm over 30 years old, everybody, if you were wondering. Yeah. Anyway,
I used to say they were the Red Sox before the Red Sox won. I was like, the Soviet Union had come and gone, and still the Red Sox hadn't won the World Series. And then now you can't say that anymore. But it used to be one of my favorite lines.
It's such a bummer now. So anyway, somebody I am very confident in, unlike you with the Patriots and me with the Lions not blowing this season, is Austin. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you that at Final 7, anybody could go home. But after watching Bruce go home with an idol in his pocket, Austin has 2 idols. It's Final 7. Final 4 is going to be fire making. You can't use the idol anyway. Strongest guy out there. This is the James Clement scenario. You have 2 idols, and you're down to a position where all you got to do is win 1 or 2 more challenges, and you are sitting in Final Tribal, and you're the strongest person out there. There is no way that Austin goes home this week when he's got 2 idols. So I got him at number 1. He's in the majority alliance. It would take a lot for him to go home this week. And I think that if people start lying to him, he'll figure out something as it's going on. He'll get some sort of weirdness because he hasn't been lied to yet in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, he does have 2 idols, so that's why I have him at number 2. I just was kind of doing who I liked. I guess I'm not really good at these power rankings, but I did have him at 2 because I said he's got 2 idols, they ain't going anywhere unless he's stupid, unless he's completely stupid, which he does not seem to be. Seems like a very bright person, so I think we're good. Yeah, and I will say, does it seem like we're not? He's getting kind of a ghost at it. Does it seem like he's not getting the real?
So what shocks me, so this is what shocks me the most. I have the confessional totals in front of me.
Uh-huh.
And D has 32 confessionals, which like sounds about average, but it's actually the second fewest out of anybody left in the game. And I would have thought that she had more than Austin because I just feel like we haven't gotten much from Austin. But Austin actually has more confessionals than Bruce did. He has more confessionals than Jake has.
What?
The only ones ahead of him are Katura, who's only said Bruce's name, Drew, and Emily. So the fact that he has the third most confessionals out of the 8 people left in the game does really shock me. Or he has the fourth most confessionals. The fact that he's in the top half does shock me because I agree with you. I don't feel like we've gotten content from him. He might be talking, but I don't feel like he's talking about anything that's resonating.
Yeah, man, it's going right. So that's really interesting because
Mhm.
I would never, if you would put that in like a true or false, I would have said false. I would never believe that he had more than Didi. I mean, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
And Jake.
So,
More than
and
Jake
Jake,
is really
I know
what blew
Jake's
my
been
mind.
talking all the time, and
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite, Drew. I'll
Yep.
tell you the only confessional I want to see out of Drew next is chickens. Do chickens have large talons? That's all I want to hear from Napoleon
I'm
Dynamite.
telling you.
Like, is it just me, or does he look just like? It just reminds me of Napoleon Dynamite every fucking time I see him on the TV screen. I'm like,
31
nobody's
minutes.
talking about it. Am I the only one talking about it?
No, people are bringing it up. They are.
Okay,
The 31 minutes and 7 seconds before Bruce almost dropped an F-bomb. It was close. We almost got it. We held back. But no, I totally agree with you. He looks just like John Heater.
Oh my God, so funny.
Yeah. He's going to do the dance for us at one point. It's going to happen.
So, all right. So we both kind of agree on Austin. He's not going anywhere.
We do both agree on Austin. And it would take a lot for Austin to go home. Not only would Emily, Jake, and Katura have to work together, they'd have to convince one of the Rebas to work with them. And they would have to be able to convince one of the Rebas to work with them and not have somebody slip up and go tell Austin that it's coming. Katura was told information last week, and she couldn't run to the Reba tribe fast enough. She had her PF flyers on and she was going. There was no way that she was going to hold that information in, which blows my mind. It was a really good opportunity for her, but she could not wait. She was like, I'm going to get in with the good graces with Reba. And then we saw Jake do a very similar thing. Jake felt the same way. And so I think that we are definitely in a situation where a Reba could go home, but to get the person with 2 idols in their pocket, you got to be playing God level Survivor. And I don't think I love Emily. I love Jake. I love Katura. I don't think any of them have God level Survivor in them based on what I've seen so far.
Right. No, Phil, I agree with you.
So I'll jump in and do my 2.
Okay. What's your 2?
My number 2, it really does get tricky really fast this week. And I'm going to do this based on how I think they should play Survivor. Not necessarily on what I think will happen, but how I think they should play Survivor. And I'm going to put Jake at number 2. And my reason is, why in the world would you vote him out this week? Why? He is the easiest person. You said it. I remember one thing that really resonated with me from your tell-all 7 years ago was we were talking about the final 5 or final 6 when it was Jay, you, Adam, Ken, Hannah, and David. Right. And I remember you said everyone was fighting to sit next to Ken and Hannah. That was what everybody wanted because that's how the game had gone and everybody knew it.
Shocked everybody. Shocked everybody when I came out with that. Phil, come on, tell everybody. Shocked the world. Shocked the world.
But it stuck in my head. Even that resonated with me more than anything Austin has said on this season. But I really feel like Jake has to be in that boat right now. And if you don't let Jake make a move, you can keep Jake around and he can have a cool underdog story, but he could be like Owen or Romeo. If he can't make a move, it doesn't matter how good his underdog story is. It doesn't matter how much people like him. You keep him around. You keep dragging him along. Take him the final 3. Right now, he has no resume. He's a high school kid. That's it. He has nothing to offer you. So this poor guy who loves the game and is trying his best and really doesn't want to be viewed that way is stuck in this like never-ending cycle. He's in the Twilight Zone version of Survivor for him. So yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that because I had him at 2 and I scribbled it out. All right. Because I'm in the same boat as you. Why would you ever vote him out? If I'm out there, look at, and people always go, oh, you couldn't. I was extremely likable out there. Everyone and I had a relationship with everyone out there, just like Sunday did. Like that's how you go far in the game. And a lot of people don't want to talk, don't believe it, they don't live, but like likable, friendly people go far in the game because it's people you want to keep around. And my thing with with Jake is like, what? Like, if I'm Jake, if I'm out there, I want that kid next to me. And so I did have him high originally. And then, but I feel like these Reva players are just playing a different game, like you said, and they're not thinking about who they want to sit next to at the end. I don't know. And of course, now we're going to throw fire into it. So there's a lot of factors, but I don't want to sit next. If I'm a Reva, I don't want 2 more Reva people there with me, you know? So yeah, I had him at number 2 as well, but I scratched it out.
Yeah, I feel like if Reba gets to the end solo, let's say D is sitting in a final tribal alone, all 3 Rebas on the jury are going to vote for her. So she is coming into the final tribal council with 3 of the 8 votes. Now she needs 1 more vote. She just needs 1 more. That's it. And I think she'll get it. So if I'm the Rebas, I want all of my Rebas on the jury. But I also don't want them all on the jury because they're like in a way that's going to make them mad at me. So how do you do that? Maybe you give a little bit of juice to Jake. Maybe you let Jake, I don't want to say let him make a move, but you let Jake stir the pot and then blame it on him. Because at Final Tribal Council, he's going to have such an uphill battle. Jake is going into Final Tribal Council with 0 votes, no matter who he sits next to. He could earn some, but he is going to be the person who's going in with nobody saying, I am definitely voting for Jake tonight. Whereas the Rebas, you got 3 votes if you can put your other Rebas on the jury. So if you can sit next to Jake, you could win that 8-0, and Jake has no shot. Hopefully they're seeing that. And after I say all that, I really like Jake. And I think Jake is playing as hard as he possibly can. He's not playing a bad game. He just has no agency in this game. And there's nothing he can do to gain agency. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I know. And he's getting frustrated with it. And I feel bad for him. Because I do like Jake too. And, and I've met him, and he's a really nice guy. So he's somebody I am kind of rooting for on the side here too. But he should be going to Final 3. He should be going to Final 3. And, if he does, it wouldn't shock me, So, and I mean that because if you're one of these stronger players, I hate to say that, but you'd take him. Why wouldn't you take him?
Exactly. It's the same thing with Owen last year. I after meeting Owen, and I don't know if you've met Owen or not, but after meeting Owen, I always say that if Owen plays Survivor again, he could sweep the Final Tribal Council. That's how likable of a guy he is. Super nice guy, down to earth, so easy to talk to, makes you feel like the most important person in the room. And that's what they always say. A good Survivor player makes you feel like you're important, right? Yeah. But he was just on the wrong. He could not figure it out, and he couldn't get on the right side of numbers. Even though everybody liked him, he just could not get the numbers. That's what Jake feels like to me right now. No matter what happens, you just might not get the votes. Everybody liked Troyzan too. But how would you not vote for Sarah over Troyzan based on how they played that season?
Great guy too, if you ever met him.
Yeah, I love her.
Sweetheart of a guy. But but the thing is like, and I think that's why, and we've already talked about, I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but don't sit on the beach and cry. It's a game. Go win the game. Get up. Go in there. Stop crying. Why is all this crying, Phil? I can't take all this crying. There's more crying in the season, and it's 26 damn days. They're getting letters from. I mean, my God, they could have. The letters probably just got there. It's crazy that they've only been gone for 20 days. I don't get it. I don't get it. We need 39 days. Bring back the 39 days. People get angrier. They get hungrier. There's more time for things to get screwed up. The 26 is too little. And by the way, the sanctuary, can't deal with the sanctuary. Yeah, we have got to go. If we're going to stay in the same place, we can't go to the same place to eat every night. If we're going to live in the same island for the rest of eternity on Survivor, we can't go to dinner at the same place, right? Yeah. Am I right?
No. So here's the thing, right? Applebee's, what's their slogan? You know Applebee's slogan, right?
Yeah, I can't remember.
You don't know. Okay, eating good in the neighborhood, right?
Eating good in the neighborhood, right?
Eating good in the neighborhood. That's it. Jeff is trying to do that with the sanctuary where good things happen. It's not working. It's never going to happen. I'm done. I'm done with it. You can't keep throwing us there.
But first of all, Fiji's bending over backwards to keep them there. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me they can't get a deal at one of these places to go get your nail, wherever. Like we went, they had us getting our nails done at a resort in the pool. I mean, it's so easy to make it just more fresh and new. If he goes if we're going to stay in Fiji and go to the sanctuary for our rewards, folks, the show's almost done. You can go to Australian Survivor and really, really enjoy a good season of Survivor with long days, lots of camp life with 3 days, 3 episodes a week. I mean, like, this is great. We got an hour and a half, and they're wasting it with we're going to the sanctuary, the same place every time, and everyone's like, "Yay, we're going to the sanctuary!" No, I'm sorry, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if that's why they'll never bring back a player pre-40, because the pre-40 players would be like, "Oh, cool, we're going to the sanctuary." They're not going to be as excited about it because that's all. I'm not knocking the new era players for this, but that's all they know. All they
Yeah,
know is the sanctuary.
true.
They don't know anything else. It's not their fault, but that
Right.
sounds great to them because that's what they're going to.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I
yeah,
mean, you could if you're anyone who's done 26 days, I could do that stand on my head. That's when you start to really go nutty. Is after that into the 30s. So I don't know. I'm very nervous about Survivor. I really am.
well, here's a question for you before we move on
Hmm.
from Michael Carroll. Did you ever cry, Brett? No hate, just curious.
So I did, and I explained this in my uh, Ponderosa video, which they just took down from YouTube. God knows why, but you can get it on if you buy the Millennials vs. Gen X CD. You can get it. I explained this to Chris because Chris Hammond's cried almost all the time, and because he's a big redheaded baby. But so I cried like when my father came out of the woods. That was extremely moving. That's when you should cry, right? You've
Mhm.
been out there for 30 something days. You're at wit's end. You're telling lies to these people. You don't know anyone. It's just you're closed off. You're worried about whether you're going to get voted out. Your mind's going crazy, and then somebody that you trust and love comes running out of the woods. That's when you cry.
Mhm.
Not when they're sitting around the fire and they want to prove to you how important they are, or like how I have this had a story. Like, first of all, why would you tell anyone your sad story anyway? Because you don't want them thinking you have a story when you get to the end. You want to think you're just a normal person.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I did cry to answer his question.
Okay. Okay. I will say, so on this season, we keep track of it for the prop bet game. Brandon cried, Bruce cried, Hannah cried, Emily cried, Katera cried, Julie cried, Dee cried, Sean cried, Kendra cried, and Jake cried. Drew and Austin are the only two holding out right now,
No,
but
they'll cry because
they're
I'm
gonna
telling
get
you,
there.
everyone feels like they have to cry. I'm telling some of these people that you're talking about just now have cried 2 or 3 times.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, my God, a couple people it was like the first episode. I'm like, you don't cry on the first episode of Survivor. My God, I yelled at Chris Hammonds. I was like, he started crying. We're at the fire. He's crying about his dog. I turned to him and I say, Ken had me on some crazy story about a dog he saved and then abandoned. I don't know what the hell that was all about. And then I turn and Chris is at the fire and he's bawling like I've never seen a person cry that much. I said, Chris, what the hell just happened? I was here for 5 minutes. I come back, you're crying like a baby. And he's like, they got me talking about my dead dog.
Mhm.
I was like, well, you don't cry on Survivor, dude. Stop it. Now, I did cry once when my father came out of the woods.
Mhm.
But I mean, this is getting ridiculous. It's not that sad, folks. It's a game and it's fun. You're psyched to be there. It's Survivor. You're playing. You're out on the beach. You're fishing. I mean, my God, what is going on with these generations coming up? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'd probably cry on the show, but I would cry just and my confessional after that would be I did that for Bret LaBelle. That would be it. I would sob for you.
And then eat a pizza. Eat some Fijian pizza.
Yeah,
Right
that's
after.
when I would cry because my stomach would explode.
Oh God!
Yeah.
But no, I mean, look, I do see. I will be honest. There's been a couple times in the past, not so much in the last 5 seasons, but there's been a couple over the years where it's like, all right, that was moving. Like
Mhm.
you'll see somebody tell a really sweet story, and it's like, all right, that was moving.
Yeah.
But for the most part, come on, stop it.
Yeah, I thought and I did meet Bruce and he's one of a couple people, that I actually met. But I did find getting back to the beach where like it all went wrong for him and he cried at that and like took his moment. It's like, all right, now I'm good. I feel like that is one of those moments that probably catches you off guard where you're just not expecting and all of a sudden you walk back in there and you're saying to yourself, I literally never thought I'd be here again. This was where one of the worst moments of my life happened. $1 million opportunity. When do you ever get a 1 in 18 chance to win $1 million? Never. And so he gets a 1 in 18 chance to win $1 million. He has to get taken off that beach because of his head, and then he goes back. I mean, I feel like that's pretty legit. And then Alice just said, "Didn't Drew cry with Julie?" So Drew probably cried too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I get, like I said, I get that it's moving and stuff like that. I just feel like we get a lot of criers on lately, and if there's a reason I'm for it, I don't see a ton of reasons, So
Yeah. All right, hang on. We gotta get back to power rankings. So who
yeah,
did
I'm
you put at
sorry.
3? Did you ever even say your 3?
I have not said my 3, but now I'm second guessing it. But no, I'm gonna because I had her at 4 before, so I'm gonna go with it. I'm saying Dee Dee's not going home.
Okay. What are you thinking about D? D seems to be
I
everybody's
just think
front runner
she's
to
got a
win.
lot of. She's like Emily. She kind of likes. They have a nice relationship going. I feel like Katora. Although I'm not so sure she's got any love for Jake. I don't see them talking too much, right? Did we see them talking a lot?
Although she
Um,
is the reason Jake stayed, right?
yeah,
Because she
you're right.
wanted
You're right.
her to go
I
home
just feel
instead.
like I feel like she's got a good way about her, and she likes to talk to people. She's like, talking to different people and having relationships with people. I think that's a good sign for me. Watching, that's a good sign. So I feel like she's going to be sticking around for a little bit longer. I could be totally wrong because one of these Rebas have to go. So I could be completely wrong, but I think my gut is telling me she's sticking around.
Yeah, I got D at 3 as well, and I've been super high on D. D was my preseason winner pick, and I'm happy that it's stuck because I picked her to win because she lives in South Florida. That's why I picked her.
Oh, well,
And
I didn't know that. Where is she?
she's Miami. She's
Oh,
Miami
wow.
based. Yeah.
There you
So for me, I was like, okay, gotta pick the South Florida person. No, but everybody
Mhm.
ignores us when they go to these events. Bryce and Wendell don't come to Florida, like so. I'm
No,
like, I gotta hype this up because if D wins, you can't ignore us.
I
And
just left Florida. You know I love Florida.
yeah, exactly. So we got to get
Yeah,
Bret doing some live events and coming down to
yeah,
Florida. Although
that's right.
Johnny Fairplays Wednesday night. Anybody who lives down here, he's doing one in Fort Lauderdale at Patio. So if you're interested, go to that. I will be there. You can see me. More importantly, you can see me. Johnny will be there.
Listen, Colin's sick for the next day because when you go partying with Johnny Fairplay, it's a long night. I'm
It's a
just gonna
long
say
night.
that it's a
Yeah.
long. It's fun. It's a fun night, but it's a long night.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I am happy that D didn't look like a bad winner pick at this point. I've made it look like D is a good winner pick because she's playing the game well. I am shocked and I'm getting a little worried that she's not getting as many confessionals and things like that as everybody else. She only had 2 in the last episode. But if Ariba's going to go home and Drew brings it up to Austin of like, we're going to need to break each other up, Austin is going right to D and telling her. If Julie brings it up to anybody, whoever she brings it up, let's say she brings it up to Austin, Austin's going right to D and telling her. And if Austin's never going to bring it up, so Julie and Drew would have to work together and leave Austin out. And I think Drew has been playing such a truthful game that I think he will tell Austin, and Austin will then tell D. D has such protection from Austin right now, and the fact that he has an idol. I don't see any way.
I think, again, it comes back to likability. I think she's a really likable person. I think she's entertaining. I think that everyone really enjoys her, and they all have a relationship with her. It's so important to have a relationship with everyone out there, So I think you have a good pick there.
Yeah, so that was my winner pick preseason, and now I'm hoping that she sticks around. I'm hoping she hangs in there, and I would be shocked. Austin with the idol, I don't see it happening. But then they're also trying to play up like, is there a thing going on between D and Austin? Is that happening? Is there like a little romance in the air? That's what people have been questioning. And if they are, Austin's playing his idol for her. Blinded by her big toe. He is gonna play. He's gonna play that idol for her. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I think D is safe this week.
Oh, definitely. I think so too.
Yeah. All right, we're going up to number 4. So now we're at the exact middle point here. Who you got?
I got Drew. Napoleon Dynamite himself. And I think he's going to get blindsided soon, but I'm just not so I don't know when,
What do you think? So Drew's getting the everybody's talking about like he's cocky, he's arrogant, he's not the nerd we want on this show. What are you thinking about Drew so far?
I don't know. I feel like he knows. I've seen this a lot lately. He knows how to talk to the camera. He knows how to say, like, even today he started crying, right? When he was talking with, what was it, Mama J? Or,
he did cry there. Yep.
Yeah, and I just don't think he's got the he kind of like gets annoyed with people. He likes to, and we'll see that coming up a lot. I don't know. He tries to act like he's the smartest man in the room. He tries to tell you that. We see a lot of this now where people are playing the camera to try and say they did things that they maybe didn't do. So I don't know. We'll see what at the end when exit interviews and stuff like that what really went on. But yeah, I'm not. I don't think he's going to win it, but I don't know. I think he's somebody they should probably get rid of sooner than later.
I'll tell you what. I think Drew and Emily, if they were to do a returning player seasons, are both really solid old school villains. And I
Mhm.
mean that in a positive, because Emily has totally gone from villain to hero now. She's the underdog. She's kind of had the David Wright arc, right? Of like,
Yeah,
started off on day one, so weak, so
yeah.
pathetic, and then
That's why
turned
I
it on.
really like her, though. I
Yeah.
really, really like it.
It's Aubrey too. I mean, it's two
Yeah.
of the most popular players from the 30s all in one. And I think with Emily, she is a villain still, though, because she's going to tell you what she feels. And I feel like if she plays again with a different cast who maybe
Mhm.
takes her a little bit lighter, she's going to play a villainous game. She wanted to play a villainous game. It's just that they called her out. Caleb talked her down, and then she played a different game. She wants to play like Chaos Cast. And Drew loves to play that kind of puppet master role. Him and Jake on the island last week yelling at each other about who's the mobster and blah blah blah. That was
Right.
the most pathetic wannabe gangster fight I've ever seen in
It
my
was so
entire life.
stupid. Yeah.
But that's how Drew's getting under people's skin, and it's working. He's getting
Yeah.
under Jake's skin. I don't think he's going to win either, but he is playing a really good game of Survivor, and I think it's being overlooked by the fact that people just don't like his personality when he talks to the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just look at that's yeah. And I mean, and that could just be the way he is. That just could be how he comes off of the camera. I'm sure he's a great guy when you meet him. Most of these people are. That's why these shows are so hard for me to do, because it's like I get to meet all these people, and then I've said things that I don't even remember on your show, on Robert's a podcast, and all kinds of stuff. And people go, "I can't believe you said." I was like, I don't even remember saying it. Like, you got to give whatever it is, it is. But I'm sure Drew's a good guy. I'm just saying, as he comes off on the show, yeah, I agree with you. I think he's definitely getting that villain edit, and I think he would be good in a returning season. So
Yeah, I mean, you said most people are nice. Who's not, huh? No,
what's
I'm just kidding. You don't
that?
have to answer that question. I just
Yeah, I'm
want
not
to.
gonna say a word.
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on. Give us some content. We have to build up our TikTok following.
Yeah, no, trust me, dude. This is a crazy family, and when you got to be very careful what you say. I've said things. People have heard me say crazy things, and a lot of times it's worthy. But when I try to tell like people that are airing, I'm like, why are you listening? Like,
Mhm.
don't listen. I don't know you. I've never met you. I'm going to say whatever comes to my mind, just like I'm a fan watching the show, because that's what I used to do when I watched the show. Over the years, was there was people I liked and people I didn't like.
Yeah.
And you don't know them personally. You're just watching the show. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
I hear you. All right. Number 4, I am going to go with, God, I want to put her lower, but I'm going to put Julie. I feel like the whole Mama J thing is a threat to people, but
Yeah,
I feel like right now, Emily is a
I
bigger
don't know
threat.
about that.
I feel like Drew is a bigger threat, and I feel like Katura is an easier vote. I feel like Mama J, this whole story of like, we don't want her, we call her Mama. When has that ever worked for somebody to
No,
win? Tina
no, listen,
Wesson?
no,
And
no,
she was a
and that's
villain.
why.
Tina Wesson was a villain.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I love Tina Weston, by the way.
Yeah.
I met her at Hearts Reality, and I was shocked she knew my name. I love she's awesome. But the- uh, no, Julie. What do you have her as?
4. So
Okay,
she's my right in the middle.
yeah, okay. So I, Julie is not. If I'm one of these Rebas, or I shouldn't say that. If I'm one of these contenders, so to speak, people that we think are going to win these 1, 2s, and 3, like. Take her with you. She's
Mhm.
not gonna, like you said, Mama's not gonna help you.
Mhm.
Being Mama J, people are not gonna give her $1,000,000. I do not see people giving her $1,000,000. I don't see things that she did, great. I don't see there's been times she's just hanging in there too. So I don't see where the votes are that they think she's gonna get. I don't see it.
I agree with you. I mean, if you were to tell me rank your out of the Survivor players you've met or interviewed, rank them very near the top of that power ranking would be Julie Rosenberg. And Julie
Mhm.
Rosenberg was a 0 vote finalist. Like
I
Julie
know.
Rosenberg didn't get and lost to a guy who had been voted out of the game. So,
It's crazy.
it's that whole mama thing. I mean, Sunday on your season, she was very under edited, could have
Oh,
maybe had a story, but still, like,
yeah.
we very rarely see this archetype win. So maybe they're playing that up to Julie to be like, "Oh, like you're good, don't turn on me. You're really cooking. You'll win if you get to the end." But I don't see her getting the votes, and I think there's bigger fish to fry right now. And if I'm sitting next to Julie at final 3, I like my chances more than if I'm sitting next to Austin or if I'm sitting next to D at final 3 for
Yeah.
sure. If
Oh,
I'm anybody else.
yes. Yes. Yeah, I don't. I was shocked by that. Unless they're just trying to they were probably just trying to make an argument to throw votes on it. It was just to me, I'm like, geez, when are these people going to wake up and realize who they want to be sitting next to? I
Yeah.
feel like we're lacking in that conversation.
Which is crazy because I feel like on 90 minutes, they've done a really good job of everything else except for that. I don't feel like we've gotten any conversation about that, which is a very normal thing we get on the show, right? We've heard so many people in the past talk about, oh, if you sit next to Gabler, you're going to win. And then they were wrong, but they still talked about if we sit next to Gabler, we're going to win. Nobody's talking about that really on this season. The only thing they said was if D gets to the end, Emily and I think Drew were talking about it. They said if D gets to the end, D's going to win. D is going to win $1 million. And they've had a couple confessionals like that. Now that worries me because they also had a lot of those for Victoria back in Edge of Extinction, and she ended up not even making Final Tribal. So maybe they're trying to lead us down a different path, and D doesn't even make it to the Final Tribal Council. But man, like I said, if I'm a Reba, I don't want to be sitting next to another Reba anyway. But if I'm Katurah, if I'm Jake, if I'm Emily, Julie and Drew are probably the two Rebas I'd be the most comfortable sitting with at the final.
Speaking of Gabler, did you meet him at that party?
I did. I did.
What a great guy!
I know.
My God,
that
guy is. I was talking shit about him because I was like, who, he's donating the money. My God, like who gives money to it? Now, don't get me wrong, folks. We all have charities. I get it. Like Adam Klein gave $100,000 to a charity. I get it. But I'm just like, I can't believe they gave it to a guy that was going to give it away when you have people that really needed the money.
Yeah.
So again, I talked shit. Gable was one of the nicest guys, kindest guys you've ever met in your entire life. I take it back. I feel like a jerk. Anyway, go on.
We may have Gabler coming on this podcast soon.
Oh, I love. I'll tell you what a nice guy. His wife's a sweetheart too.
Yeah,
really, really fun to talk to. Really, really.
Good he was the most surprising. It was funny because the internet loves to shit on whoever they love to shit on, and once they start, it just piles up because it's just that groupthink thing of like, oh, we hate him, and now he will be crumbling beneath our feet.
Right. And I'm a veteran, so I was like, listen, if you're gonna donate, I love who we donated to, but I'm just like, I just couldn't wrap my head around like if I went out there and said I'm gonna donate all my money, like whatever. I hate to even go.
They didn't know. They didn't know he was gonna do it.
It's a wonderful thing that he did. I'm not saying that, folks. I'm just saying it was just shocked the shit out of me that he won. But when you see how good of a guy he is, and that's why it's so important. People don't see that. When you're out there every day for 39 days or whatever, or 26, whatever it is now, and you're bored, and the only thing they do is sit around and laugh and talk. And when you get somebody that's enjoyable like that, it's easy to keep going. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, if you ever get a chance at any of the events and Gabler's there and you get to talk to him, he will talk to you for as long as your conversation goes. He does not care if there's a line of people waiting. He will just keep talking. Like he listens. He remembers. He was great.
Genuinely a good person. Genuinely a good person. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, who you got at 5?
At 5. Okay, I got so after the conversations, I have Mama J at 5. So
okay.
But I think that's a good place for her.
All right, Mama J at 5. But you're not seeing her as a winner threat. And right now you have her the lowest ranked Reba.
No, I think she should. I think some of these fools should be taking it to the end. I really do. And I'm a firm believer in that.
At my number 5, I'm actually going to put Katurah, and I'm going to say that this is going to come down to Emily and Drew between who's going home this week. So I'm going to put Katurah here at 5, and then I'm going to finish mine out, and I always save the guest for last. I'm going to put Emily at 6, and I'm going to put Drew at 7, and say Drew is the one going home. And here's my reason why. Katurah, I feel like, at this point, even with her couple of emotional moments she had last week, she doesn't really have the gameplay to make an argument at the Final Tribal Council. So she's somebody to me that you're saying, it's not the worst thing if I keep Katurah around. And she is so desperate to work with somebody from Reba that I might say, you know what, maybe I'll keep her a little bit. That sounds like a good idea to me. So I'm going to say she's at 5. I'm going to put Emily at 6. And my main concern for Emily is that she runs around too much and she ends up saying the wrong thing to the wrong person. And they go back and tell one of the Rebas, and the Rebas say, you know what, we just got to get her out of the game, because she really is the biggest threat remaining to the Rebas. If the Rebas sit next to her at the end, she's the only one that beats them. I don't think Jake or Katurah do. And then I have Drew at the bottom, though, because if Julie is really talking about wanting to make a move, she might not want to make it on Drew. But if word starts getting around that Julie and Drew are talking, I think Austin and D would actually be willing to vote Drew out of the game at this point for the betterment of their game. And maybe the Rebas get cocky and maybe they try to split because maybe they think Emily is on their side. And then Emily, Katura, and Jake just sit down and they write Drew's name. Drew, to me, though, is the public enemy number one of the Rebas for the other people remaining. So I'm going to put him at 7. And we'll see. I think any of those 3, though, Katura, Emily, Drew, I'd be really surprised if it wasn't one of those 3, even though you have Emily at number 1 as your like all-time greatest player. I think you said at the beginning of this episode.
No, I never said those words. But no, I just really like her. So I was kind of going like, who do I want to see stay? And I really think she's playing a pretty good game too. But I always screw this. I always like second guess myself on these power rankings things. But I actually have Katura at 6, so we're similar here.
Mhm.
I think she had plenty of chances to swing things around. Her hate for Bruce blinded her in the fact that she could have grabbed Bruce, Jake, a couple other people, and maybe made some moves. But she just was so disgusted with really Bruce since the beginning. It's very bizarre to me that, and I get that it does happen. There's sometimes people just rub you the wrong way, but when you start to get down in the numbers, that's the people that you kind of need to go to and embrace. And I just don't see her lasting too much longer in this game. I could be totally wrong. And do I go on with my 7?
Yeah,
now?
go ahead. Who do you got going home? Then?
No, I have Jake at 7, and it's not. If you watch the previews for next week, they teased us, so you kind of think there's going to be this little battle royal coming up. But I think they're all going to fail. I think they're all going to be babies, and I think they're going to go for the easy vote. And it's going to be Jake, which is a huge mistake because Jake should be. They should all cuddle around Jake, and I hope that they do and be like, I want Jake. I'm going to get Jake to vote with me. And Jake's play should be changing very soon. He shouldn't be on the outs anymore because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. These people should be going to Jake and trying to get his vote because they're going to find themselves, losers at the end of the day. So.
I mean, we have pretty different rankings, which is nice because I feel like up to this point, everybody's been very similar. And even last week, Adam and myself both put Bruce at 1. Alexa put Bruce at 2. I think most people would have put Bruce at 1 or 2 because he had the idol and it was so obvious he was going to get votes. So him going home was a shock. And I feel like it actually did open up the doors a little bit for, will this continue to go the predictable way? Will it just be Jake, Katura, Emily, and then the final 4 will be Reba, and Reba's just going to battle it out? Or will we see something happen here? Because this is the moment to make it happen if you're on the other side. You have given Reba the numbers. But if one of the Rebas truly feels that they're not going to win, which I think is actually Julie, who feels that she's not going to win at this point. If you feel like you're not going to win, this is your last chance to make the move. Because if you get rid of Emily, if you get rid of Jake, or you get rid of Katura this week, you have no move after that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, to me, Jake should be safe. He should be number 1 because I really think that. But I just don't. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to go that way. I really have a feeling that they're going to try to make a move on somebody. It's not going to work, or somebody's going to do something, and they're going to end up voting out Jake, which is a mistake. Jake should be the safest guy next week because if they're smart, they'll start grabbing him. Who's going to vote for him? Who's going to? Everyone's shown complete not disgust, but nobody will work with him. So who's going to give him $1 million? But that's right. Adam Klein has him as his winner pick, right? Is that what you said? Yeah. That's my boy Adam. I gave him $1 million.
Yeah, I know. What were you doing?
I don't know. Well, he was sitting next to 2 winners. So and 2 very good friends of mine, by the way. I just saw Hannah at Zeke's wedding a couple weeks ago. I love her deal. She's got a great boyfriend. She's dating, a really nice guy. So, but no, I love both of them. But I'm just saying, like, Adam was sitting next to the right. He had the right choice. He took Jake and Mama J to the end. You know what I'm saying? And that's what these people need to start figuring out. And if they all play this, hey, we're going to get them all out. We're Reba strong. Okay, that's great. You're Reba strong, but it's going to cost you $1 million.
Yeah. Because I do wonder if, let's say all 4 Rebas did go to Final 4, and then we have a Reba Final 3. It doesn't matter who's in that Final 3. Who do you think actually out of the Reba 4 has the best chance of winning if they're sitting next to 2 other Rebas at the end?
Oh, I don't know. Didi?
Yeah.
I'd say Didi. I think you're right. I think that's a great pick. That's a great winner pick from day one. I got to give it to you.
I'm patting myself on the back for that.
Yeah,
one.
You should.
You know who my winner pick for your season was?
Who?
Chris.
Me.
It was Chris.
Chris Hammonds?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
I didn't always have
it. What were you smoking?
I know. And that was the year after I picked Michelle to win before season. So I was really hot. I was feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
And then I picked Chris, and then he got voted out. And
Chris
I
was
send him hate mail like once a month, but I sign it somebody else. So he's probably thinking it's somebody else.
Man, I wanted Chris to go far because he was a huge meat shield. Like
Yeah.
all eyes were on Chris, and it was great. But look at Chris also has a personality. He could have gone far. He just and he started working Zeke, which was his down. I mean, they did. They had a connection with Oklahoma City and stuff like that. But and maybe Zeke you'd have to get Zeke on here, but he might agree that maybe he took him out a little too soon. But so you might but yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
but he lied about being a lawyer too. So did Katora.
Yeah, it seems like that's a threatening job, even though lawyers very rarely win the game. But I think it's the lawyers get concerned that they're not going to be able to get even to the end because people are going to just be so concerned with who they are.
No, so. I get that. I mean, that's why I didn't say I was a cop.
Yeah.
I just was worried about all kinds of stuff back then. But Jake didn't mind. He threw it right out there. It was kind of funny. That was a good scene when Katura's like rolling her eyes.
Yeah, I know. That was Katura's best moment so far of this season, and it came all the way back in episode 1, which is crazy.
I know.
She felt like she was the winner after that conversation, and then that stopped.
Let's not forget we had 2. You could make an argument for 3 quits on this season. So I'm very excited for how this turned out. Even though I see a lot of players, I feel I'm playing very well, and they need to start playing well if they're going to win. If they're going to really take the win, but it's so much better than I cannot believe, and I blame Jeff Probst for casting because he's running casting now, I believe. So I mean, how do you cast 2 quitters, 3 quitters? Yeah. How do you do that?
I know.
How in this day and age with all the people that want to play, how do you cast people that literally go, I want to go have a cigarette and a beer rather than be out here? Like, what is going on? Casting needs to be overhauled on Survivor right now.
Yeah, that was a big point of conflict between the pre-40 and the post-40 people, because the post-40 people were really coming to the defense of the quitters, and the pre-40 people were just going in. And I feel like it created this rift where it's like, I get the problem between post 40 and pre 40, right? Because if you're post 40, you feel like you have a chip on your shoulder because pre 40 is 39 days and it was doing this, it was doing that. So you feel like it's maybe the more authentic version of the game. So I get where the chip on the shoulder comes from, but there's a lot of other things to defend in this new era. Quitting should never be defended. But then again, we just saw yesterday the college football playoff put an undefeated team out of the playoff because they didn't look good. Which is crazy because, like, I thought winning mattered, but I guess a day and age now where you don't have to win every time to be considered the best, and you can quit and still be considered good. I was always told quitting was the worst thing. So
Jeff Probst, someone correct me if I'm wrong here. I have been a fan since season 2. I did watch season 1 later on, but I started watching in season 2. Jeff would go he would be up one side and down the other of a quitter. He didn't want you even on. Get out, go, screw. I don't want to see you anymore. Get the hell off my stage. Get off my set. Give me a break. He's like, oh, that's so great that you had the bravery to quit. Get the fuck. Who is this guy? Yeah. What is going on with our show? What happened to it? I'm going to Australian Survivor. I can't take it anymore.
I still haven't watched a single second of Australian Survivor, but
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's what I hear, but it's just so many episodes. It's just such a massive undertaking.
It's that's like when you with Big Brother. I always go, I'm going to see it. I'm going to watch it. Plus, I've had so many friends that played now, Big Brother. I'm going to sit down and watch it. I can't. It's too much. It's just too much.
Yeah. Are you watching Surviving Barstool or no?
No, what's that? Is that a new one?
Yeah, Barstool does their own Survivor version between all their big guys.
Really?
So the 4th episode airs tonight, and Will and I are gonna recap it. We recapped episodes 1 through 3 last week, and then we're gonna recap episode 4 tonight, where they just run around their office doing ridiculous challenges.
Barstool El Presidente?
Yeah.
Really? Where's this on?
It's on Barstool TV. It was on YouTube, but they had to take it off YouTube because one of the players threatened to blow up another person's house and kill his family.
I gotta watch this. That's hilarious.
YouTube gave them a strike for that. So so now it's the first 3 episodes are free, and then right now they're giving it's $10 to watch the other 8 episodes because it can't be on YouTube. It's on Barstool TV. But if you don't pay the $10 in 2 weeks after the finale airs, they're going to give it for free. So you can either wait or you can watch now. I paid the $10, and me and Will are gonna podcast it tonight at 10 o'clock, and it's fun, awesome. Man.
Oh,
They
okay.
cursed each other out.
You probably gonna get going then, but that's awesome. I'm gonna go back and watch that. I've been enjoying Villains too, Johnny Fairplay show, which has been I mean, look it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
and but it's really funny. And I met the other guy, and I didn't even know he was famous. What he was in my house. What was his name? Who's the other guy? He went out early.
Oh,
From
Jax?
Jax. Yeah,
Yeah.
great guy. I didn't realize how famous he was. We're going around Boston. I mean, like these women were going crazy. Like he is very well known, Jax. Really, really nice guy, by the way. He
Yeah.
does not come off as a nice guy on TV. From what I hear,
Mhm.
he comes off as a jerk, but really nice guy.
Yeah. No, I've enjoyed that show too. I'm an episode behind, but I got to watch it before I go see Fair Play on Wednesday. But it's been really, really fun. And I think that's really the best word to describe. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And you're not always seeing fun reality TV anymore. Sometimes it's a little too dramatic, a little dark, whatever. But it's just flat out fun.
Yeah, it's fun and stupid, and that's what we're
Yeah.
looking for. Like I don't need all this Survivor. We gotta come back, folks. We gotta come back. Yeah, I'm still not. This last season was good. This season started out. I thought this was it. It's getting better, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's gotten a lot better. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I will say, like, the Kelly boot was pretty amazing. The Caleb
Mhm.
moment of playing the shot in the dark was amazing.
Mhm.
But in the early portion of the game, my frustrations were real because I thought the show itself was good. I thought the 90 minutes was fantastic for the show. But then I thought when you end 2 episodes in your first 4 with quitters, it's hard to convince people to keep coming back and watching that.
I know, and Caleb, man, that's my boy. I fucking that kid's great, and I tell you, I wanted to see him play more, but you know what? There's an argument that he overplayed it too much, but he really was playing hard, and I really, really enjoyed him. Really nice. I can't wait to meet him and talk to him, but I'd like to see him play again because I really think he's got a lot to offer.
I think he would be a lock. I
Yeah.
really do. I think he would be an absolute lock. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see how this is going to play out. I'm excited to watch Surviving Barstool tonight. Michael Carroll said, "Is it pay-per-view?" Yes, it is pay-per-view. That's what they're doing, but it's $10 for the entire season that's left.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm doing at 10.
$10.
Brett,
It's a beer.
it's a beer. I mean, well, you
Couple of
live in
beers.
Boston.
Yeah.
Down here in my part of Florida, you get like 3 beers for that price.
Oh
It's
yeah,
wonderful
you
thing.
hit the happy hour still.
Happy hour.
That's why.
I know. When I lived in LA, it was like $15 to get a 16 ounce, and now you come down here and it's 5 beers for that price. So
yeah, I just got last night. I was in Florida. I was like, wait a minute, what do I get for happy hour? This is great. Like
Yeah.
we got to bring this back to Massachusetts. It's Uber now. Nobody's driving. We Uber everywhere. Just let us have our happy hour.
I know. There's your pitch, everybody. That'll be the clip we send over to you for TikTok. You can throw that on. Just give me my damn beer. That's all I want.
Just give me my beer.
That's it.
Give me my happy hour.
You got anything else you want to say before I close this thing out?
Nah, listen, it's great to see you all again. I've been taking a back seat here on Survivor, but it's good to be back. And Phil, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to see you. You know, when I do see you at these events and stuff like that. So it's good.
I was very pumped to see you at the finale party. It was a good time, and my wife thought that you were going to fall off your crutches when you saw me because you screamed at me from across the bar, and I think one crutch went up in the air. So we were concerned for your health and safety, but it made me feel cool because I said to my wife, and I said, "Look, back in the day, I was a big deal. Look, Brett just came in that door, and
man, I can remember yelling at you across the bar in L.A.
I know,
back in the day.
I know.
Yeah,
I think that was the 35 finale. You were screaming at me. So
yeah, well, listen, you probably had it coming. You're lucky I didn't have my crutches then. I would have thrown them right at you.
Right at me.
I'll tell you.
I know. There you go. The javelin toss right at my skull.
Yeah. I'm off the crutches and back to normal, thankfully. But that was tough getting around that big party. But it was a lot of fun. It was good to see a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time, so it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a fun community. And if you get a chance, if you do live in LA now, I'll just plug Bryce and Wendell now. If you live in LA, go to that event. If you're in New Orleans and you haven't bought Rob's tickets, I know Owen's going to be there and a couple other people. I don't know who else is going to be there, but I know Owen's definitely going to be there and Rob's throwing the event. I mean, all these Survivor events are so fun. And when I lived in LA, I'd go to all of them. Now that I live in Florida, nobody comes down here. So the fact that Johnny's doing his on Wednesday, I'm so excited. And I hope it starts a trend because they really are the best time. And the one I went to for the finale, it's the first time I've been to a Survivor party since the 39 finale, which was, I got to meet Sandra Diaz Twine. And I said, and she said, "Do you want a picture?" And I said, we can get one at the 40 finale. I'll see you then. She goes, "You never know." And so she took a picture with me. It's hanging on my refrigerator. And the queen always knows. It's like the queen knew something bad was going to happen for season 40 because she made sure to get that picture that night. She didn't let me talk myself out of it. And I got it hanging on there. And obviously a 40 finale never happened.
Probably another one that is anyone that's like, how does she win twice? When you meet Sandra
Yeah.
Diaz Twine, you'll realize how she won twice.
Yeah.
Such a nice person,
Yeah.
such an easy person to talk about. And the whole time she's conniving behind your back and you don't even know about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's awesome.
As she's taking the picture with me, she's flipping me off behind my back, and everybody behind me is making fun of me. But at least I'm in the picture. I don't give a shit.
She's drank in the drunk tank before. She's been in this house. She's
I love
awesome.
it.
I love Sandra's awesome. She was touring with Johnny Fairplay last season. They were doing a bunch of shows, so they came to Boston. And Johnny's a lot of fun. He's a good dude, and I'm sure he'll be raffling off signed pictures. I guarantee you, folks, I actually signed him. He sits me down for like an hour signing these stupid things. But yeah, he does a lot of giveaways. He's a lot of fun. His shows are a lot of fun. They don't bring the crowds that Bryce and Wendell, two other great guys, and Rob Cecchino bring. But he's a lot of fun, and he gets the crowd going. He does trivia and stuff, so it's a lot of fun. If you're looking for something to do, you can go. You meet some good people who are also into Survivor and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Albert from South Pacific is going to be at this one. So he's a good guy too. I don't know if you ever met Albert, but Albert's a great guy.
I don't think I have, but I'd love to meet him. So
yeah, he's a great guy. So yeah, that'll be fun. So get a chance to do that, do all that. Patreon.com/Survivor Specialist. If you're interested in becoming a patron, big revamp coming obviously in January with Alexa leaving. We're going to have a whole bunch of new stuff going on over there. We're doing like I said, a full-blown rebrand. So patreon.com/Survivor Specialist. If you're interested, go check it out. We're going to be putting out some Patreon previews in January, so that'll be a good time.
I may have met him at Hats. Now I think about it. But
okay, there you go. Yeah, that would make sense because he's always lived in Florida, so that would make sense. And then other than that, if you're into the Barstool thing, go watch that episode. Will and I are going to be podcasting it tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern time, so that'll be a good time. Tell everybody that it's fun, and we're trying to expand a little bit more than just Survivor on this channel moving forward. And otherwise, Alexa will be back Wednesday night with John and McKenna. I won't be here because I'll be with Fair Play, and as Bret said earlier, those are late nights. I'm not going to be home by 9:30. So
no,
don't
let him into your house. Don't let Fair Play into your house.
It's good. He's far enough away. I'm going to turn off my locations on my phone. He'll never find me. But I won't be live. It'll be John, McKenna, and Alexa at 9:30 Eastern time. So tune into that one. Otherwise, thank you all for listening. Bret, always a pleasure. I think it's the first time I've had you on since 2017 it was 2018, I think. So it's good to finally have you back.
Wow. Yeah. Well, listen, hopefully I'll see you soon. And if not, hit me up. We'll do another one of these. And I'm finally getting these power rankings down. So I'm getting excited.
There you go. If Emily goes home this week, you and Adam both got it as wrong as you possibly could in back-to-back weeks. So Millennials vs. Gen X is really just out of touch with.
I will guarantee I will be closer than Adam will be to this.
There you go. There you go. All right, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday night.